So welcome back guys to We Talk Boxing, and today I'm going to be talking about the up and coming fight this weekend, which is the eagerly anticipated rematch between Chris Eubank Jr. versus Liam Smith. Now, before I continue, as always guys, please subscribe and help us grow this channel even further. So this fight on the weekend between Eubank and Smith sees both of these guys go into it after the third attempt to try and get this rematch going. In the first matchup between both guys, Liam Smith came out on top, underestimated by most people. Most people didn't see the way that the fight ended happening. Smith got the knockout over Eubank. Again, most people didn't see it happening like that. It was in 4 rounds. I think majority of the boxing pundits potentially, were quite torn between both guys. Some had Eubank winning, potentially knockout points, but most thought, that Smith would have potentially have got the win over Eubank, but mainly by points victory rather than knockout. But obviously he was able to, in the 4th round, claim that TKO victory over Eubank. Now, I've been watching the pre-fight obviously videos on YouTube and listening to these guys on Talk Sport and just trying to see, if I feel that any of these guys have got the edge on each other. And currently how I kind of see it is that I feel obviously Smith, he should be confident because he's got that first victory over Eubank and he is confident. And everything that is been talking so far in the press conferences and the head-to-head that they've done is quite true. Whereas on the other hand, Eubank Jr., I feel as if at times he's in denial about how the fight ended and the reasons for the fight being ended, and that he still feels that it was an elbow and the ref didn't give him enough time. He could have got up, he could have carried on. But how most people feel that at the time it was a sufficient stoppage. If he would have been allowed to carry on, he would have been hurt a lot more, and we may not have even seen this rematch happen. We probably wouldn't have even seen him maybe fight again this year because he was all over the place at the time of the stoppage. The face-to-face behind the ropes that they've done on Sky Sports, Eubank Jr. came across very frustrated, angered, and annoyed really at times because he believes that he is the better fighter of the two, and that he's going to show everyone how good he is this Saturday night. And he's pretty much stating that if he kind of loses, then yes, Liam Smith is the better man, but that could be pretty much curtains. I do believe if he does lose, there is bigger fights. Not bigger fights. There's still fights out there for him. Potentially, he could have maybe a Conor Benn fight, depending on what happens with Conor Benn, or maybe try and entice an old boy like a Golovkin, which would be a very dangerous fight. If you can't beat Smith, then Golovkin's a dangerous fight to take. However, let's say roles were reversed and Eubank did beat Smith in the first fight. I feel this fight wouldn't have happened because there would be no way on earth that Eubank Jr. would go in there again with Liam Smith. And even though there was a rematch clause in the contract, I don't feel as if Smith would have lost the first time. I don't feel as if he would be chasing this rematch. I feel as if he would have parted ways and went on and fought someone different. But because it's Eubank who lost, this is where we're at this particular moment in time. And as I said, this fight should have been made another two or three times this year, but for some reason there was injury and other delaying tactics to the reasons why this fight hadn't taken place until now. In regards to the head-to-head between both guys, reveals that Eubank Jr. is slightly younger man. Beefy, according to BoxRec, is 35, whilst Eubank Jr. is 33. Both guys have had similar amount of bouts, professional bouts. Currently, Liam Smith is 33 wins with 3 losses on his record and 1 draw. In that losses as well, he sustained 1 KO loss as well. Whilst Eubank Jr. is currently 32 wins with 3 losses on his record, and he's sustained 1 KO loss as well, which came to the hands of Liam Smith in his last, in their last bout, I should say. Whilst Liam Smith's KO came to Canelo Alvarez back in 2016, which was a vicious knockout. And he's done well since then to kind of come back, really. Since that Canelo lost Liam Smith, he's lost 2 other fights. Obviously, one fight which was against Munguia, and again another big puncher at the time. This was back in 2018. And then he lost as well to Kubanov as well in 2021, which was on points as well. So he did well in those fights, even though he lost. Good opponents as well, good opposition that he lost to. Obviously, whilst Eubank Jr. on the other hand, he suffered 2 losses prior to the Liam Smith loss. His first one came back in 2014 to you-know-who, Billy Joe Saunders. And then he lost in the Super 6 as well to George Groves, and that was a brilliant fight. Good performance by Groves. Groves fully deserved to win that fight at the time, but obviously lost to Callum Smith, I think, Liam Smith's brother, in the final of the Super 6 series. Now, as I said, in regards to KOs on their records, both guys have got a similar KO percentage. Eubank's got 23 KOs in 32 fights, whilst Liam Smith has got 20 in 33 fights. So quite similar percentage. According to BoxRec, 65 for Eubank percent and 60%, just over 60% for Liam Smith. So again, their stats are very close. Both guys near enough started their career around the same time as well. Smith started in 2008, whilst Eubank in 2011. So just a few years between them. But the height difference, obviously Eubank's slightly taller man. Generally, slightly the heavier man, but fights in a heavier weight division. But obviously, there's a catch weight between these guys for this fight, which I don't feel as if it's going to make a much difference realistically. We've seen what happened in the first fight as well. So they're like a couple of little stats between both guys. Now, I don't really need to ring off their opponents that they shared the ring with, because both guys have been in there with some good opposition. And they fought against good opponents, and by their records, you know what I mean, they fought against the who's and etc. So no need to kind of try and compare opponents that they faced together. An easy one would be Liam Williams. Both guys have fought him. Obviously, Smith fought him twice, and obviously Eubank fought him once. But anyhow, I feel this is going to be a good clash on Saturday night. The first time round I had, but in my head, obviously Eubank potentially getting the knockout over Liam Smith. But obviously after the first performance, and taking into account that Eubank has recently changed trainers again for the 100th time potentially, I'm going to go with Liam Smith, and I'm not going to say knockout. I'm going to say this one goes to points. I just feel that, you know what I mean, Liam Smith, maybe in the latter rounds, the second half of the fight, will potentially come on strong. Obviously, he's a come-forward fighter, and he could take quite a bit of punishment as well. In the first fight, when I watched it live, from what I remember, I haven't watched it since, Eubank was pretty much winning the fight up until that point. Eubank came out quite strong. Eubank's downfall, from what I remember, was, I think it was in that third round. He had a lot of success against Smith, and then pretty much got overconfident, went in, obviously got caught, got dazed, and obviously that was pretty much the end of that, because the round finished, went into the fourth round, got stopped, and as I said earlier in the video, it was a good stoppage at the time. But I just feel that a similar occurrence could potentially happen. I feel that potentially Eubank could maybe be overconfident at times, and maybe not be able to keep off Liam Smith. And as I said, second half of the fight, I feel that Smith will come on quite strong, and it wouldn't surprise me if this fight goes a draw, because first half of the fight, we know Eubank's going to come out, he's going to be strong. You know what I mean? He's going to be pumping that jab. It'd be a bit more tentative to start off with, trying to keep Liam away. Try not to engage, try not to take anything too big on the chin. But then I feel as if he will fade, and he does fade in fights, Eubank. So I do feel that he will fade in fights, and Smith will come on strong. So it could end up a draw, but my money is on a Liam Smith points victory. As I said, this video is a lot longer than what I wanted to keep it. So you guys let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you agree? Do you feel like me that Smith will win on points? Or do you feel as if he will knock him out again? Or do you feel that Eubank will come out and just blitz Smith? Or do you feel that he'll win on points? Let me know your thoughts. And as always, guys, please like, subscribe and comment for more boxing related content. Bless.